In talking with so many people, amazing folks, particularly Black people, around our reproductive choices and around what's available to us, a lot came up from endometriosis and fibroids and PCOS and lots of uterine interruptions, uterine maladies, diseases that disproportionately affect Black people and other people of color.
So Staten Islander News is here today with Maria Bauman. Maria founded MBDance in 2009, which creates honest and bold art from a sense of physical and emotional power, centering the nonlinear and linear stories and bodies of queer people of color, using dance as the wheel whose spokes are other genres, including visual art, text, and song. We're going to be discussing today MB Dance and their production of These Are the Bodies That Have Not Borne, which is an exploration through dance and ritual of the experiences of those who have not had physical children. This performance is scheduled for Saturday and Sunday, August 23rd and 24th at Snug Harbor Cultural Center, which should be tonight if you're watching this video when it premieres. So good morning, Maria. It's good to have you with us.
It's great to be with you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So, the first kind of topic that I wanted to explore is if you can kind of tell us about yourself and how you were introduced to dance and the performing arts.
Sure. Um, let's see. I am a person who has been dancing my whole life. I love to dance. I love to move my body. I love to work out and play capoeira, which is an African Brazilian martial art. I'm just a person who was born to move, and I think a lot of us are that way. A lot of people dance at weddings, at the club, at birthday parties. We have this compulsion to move. And I started training in concert dance in high school in Jacksonville, Florida, where I'm from. Um, and then I went on to earn my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance and English Literature from Florida State. Um, and then I started dancing professionally and did that, and I'm still doing that for many years. But around 2015, I went back to school for my graduate degree in dance, my MFA from Temple University. So along the way, I've danced with, in addition to founding my own company, MB Dance, I've danced with Urban Bush Women. That's a real home company for me. I've danced with Jermone Dante Beecham and Makini Poe. I've apprenticed with the Bill T. Jones Arnie Zane Dance Company. Just danced with lots of different artists, including Saul Williams. So that's a little bit about my dance background.
Oh, awesome. And there was something actually also that I heard you talk about in the interview that I watched this morning, which is actually on Vimeo, and I'm not sure who the person was that you were talking with, about how you actually like the fact that you live in a body. And that's actually something that you don't hear people say that very much. A lot
Hmm.
of people are like, they're mad at their bodies or they don't like their bodies or et cetera, et cetera. So if you wanted to kind of just talk a little bit about that, that would be great.
Sure. In that video, it's the short 4-minute trailer for These Are the Bodies That Have Not Borne, which will premiere tonight at 6 o'clock at Snug Harbor, and tomorrow evening, Sunday as well at 6 p.m. In the trailer for that work, I was talking with Melanie Person, who is the co-director of the Ailey School, um, and a former Dance Theater of Harlem ballerina, a really esteemed colleague and mentor. And and you're right. She was asking me about bodies, and I said, yes, I love living in a body. And that is the case. I truly believe that our energies transcend bodies. In other words, I still feel the energy of some of my ancestors. For instance, my father, he has passed on, but I know he's very present. And yet, it doesn't seem to me that he's in a body right now. It feels really special to me that I get to be on this planet right now, not only energetically, but in a body, because it's through my body that I experience the five senses, that I get to taste things, that I get to touch, um, hear, and sense. And that's part of why this dance work, These Are the Bodies That Have Not Born, takes place outside. That's sort of unique. Usually you go into a theater to see a dance performance, but for this one, I really want to celebrate and invite us to be in the natural world with the wind on our faces, being able to see the leaves shimmer in the distance. For us dancers, feeling the actual soil and dirt on our skin. There is something very electric to me about our embodied experience, and I choose to savor it and really make friends with my body instead of, as you were saying, to complain or be mad. I feel like, you know, some people find a life partner or someone that they marry, and I feel like we're life partners with these bodies. So may I be in good relationship. And I'm inviting audiences maybe to ponder that a little bit.
Oh, nice. Can you tell us a little bit or a lot about your dance company, MBDance, and how it came to be and how it's unfolded?
Sure, sure. I started MBDance in 2009, and it's because I've always loved choreographing. I've always loved making dances. And I was finding myself wanting to work with bigger groups, not just solos, not just make work on myself. And there's a certain physicality that I have that's influenced, let's say, by capoeira, being wide and low to the ground. There's a certain physicality that I have that's influenced by Black social dances, that prioritize polyrhythm and spinal articulation. There are just certain movement signatures that I have been really interested in exploring. And I wanted and needed to work with other people who have a similar either body signature or interest in exploring those kinds of movement sensibilities. And so the company was born. And we've been going strong ever since and taking different turns. We've made pieces that are on stage, proscenium works. We've shared work all over the world, I'm really grateful to say. We've shared work that sort of traveled through different rooms in a building. I have a piece called Desire, a Sankofa Dream that's inside, but not in a theater. It sort of travels. And then this work, These Are the Bodies That Have Not Born, is our very first outdoor work. And so I'm thrilled that we continue to grow this way.
Oh, awesome. So can you tell us about the performance of These Are the Bodies That Have Not Born, the world premiere during Snug Harbor's Dance Festival this weekend? If you could kind of tell us a little bit about the performance, what people can expect, what you're hoping to convey.
Great, sure. People can expect to be welcomed. We will have sunblock out there. There's a homemade tea that I make with herbs that are really supportive for all of us, that people will be welcomed with. I've got insect repellent if anybody needs it. I say that because we are outdoors, and my invitation is that folks feel at home and at peace and get to really enjoy rather than fighting the elements in any way. So we've really thought about you and we're prepared to receive you well. And really, that's at the crux of this piece, receiving ourselves and each other well. Um, a lot of us feel quite a lot of pressure around having children. Either it's parents saying, when are you going to have my grandkids? Which can feel like an act of love, but can also feel a bit like um, pressure and expectation, I think, for people of all genders, but I imagine especially those of us who have been socialized as women, we can really feel quite a lot of messaging telling us what we should do with our bodies and when and on what timeline. And even with whom. And then I think there's the other part of the story. So there could be pressure. And then there's also, I think, sometimes a yearning that people don't get to see. I certainly have had a yearning to have children and be a mother. And it has not happened in the way that I would imagine. And, you know, we don't talk about making enough space, I don't think, for artists who are parents and just parents in general in our society. I think parents are really doing the most and doing an amazing job at being in our society, going to work, doing, being responsible and stewarding young people. It's amazing. As much as we don't make enough space to talk about that, I think we make even less space to talk about people who want to be parents or can't be parents or are not sure if we want to be parents. For me, that feels like this underground, quiet whisper that we're not really given space to talk about. And so this piece is really that. There are seven of us who are dancing outdoors. We've got these portals. Carved into the earth. There's a land art component of this work that I've been really excited and happy to delve into. Um, and my partners on the land art component are Audrey Hales and Missy Robinson in consultation with James Gibble as well. Um, but yeah, we're really looking at what is the nature of our desires for us around reproductive justice, reproductive health, and parenthood. But I think for audience members or witness participants, no matter whether you're thinking about those topics or not, I hope that you are met with a beautiful landscape and really interesting dancing that has you sort of dreaming into or considering a little bit more your own desires and where we put those and which ones we can talk about and which ones we can't.
Yeah, it's interesting what you were saying about like enough space for people to actually be parents and to be able to care for their children and, get the kind of support that they need. But then at the same time, supporting those who choose either not to or maybe later, like want to do so later. So that's really
Yeah.
interesting that you guys explore that. Um, and can you talk about the performance in the associated zine? I saw that there's like a zine. I'm not sure how people, it says that people can purchase that, right? It's available
Yeah,
on site. If you want to
that's
tell
right.
us a little bit about the zine and what that offers to people.
Sure. We made a magazine. As a choreographer, I never imagined making a zine, but it came to me. It was a must. The universe decided that I should spearhead that, and I've accepted because in talking with so many people, amazing folks, particularly Black people, around our reproductive choices and around what's available to us, a lot came up from endometriosis and fibroids and PCOS and lots of uterine interruptions, uterine maladies, diseases that disproportionately affect Black people and other people of color. It became so big that I realized, wow, this dance ritual we're creating is absolutely necessary, and I am honored to make it. And there are so many other people's voices and experiences beyond the seven of us who are dancing. And so I and the MBDance team put out a call, and we received people's collages, poems, essays, photography based on the themes of earth as part of our bodies and our bodies as part of the natural earth, um, how we've polluted those bodies, earth and our own, consciously and unconsciously, um, and also themes around conjuring and prayer and intentions for our bodies. There have also been some pages around grieving. or celebrating transitions such as abortion, so-called miscarriage. But again, there's just a lot of hope and joy. And I think speaking with one another, the zine, we call it a whisper or a seed. Um, a book to me feels like information that's passed above board over the table. To me, a zine feels like something that's under the table, that's a little like note that's passed to somebody. Hey, this might be helpful to you. And that's what all this information has felt like to me for These Are the Bodies That Have Not Borne, both the performance ritual and the zine. And so we've got beautiful hard copies of the zine available for sale. Some folks ordered them already and they'll pick them up at the performance ritual, and other folks can pick them up and touch them and leaf through them and perhaps buy at the performance ritual. And we'll have some other things for sale as well by the dancers. We'll really have a communing and a marketplace and just getting to chill outside and be with one another after the sharings.
Oh, awesome. And I think that's really great that you because these things that you mentioned, endometriosis, fibroids, the inability to have a child or the ability to have a child, only its difficulty. Because I've known people who they did it anyway. They had the endometriosis or they have the fibroids, and it's more challenging than the pregnancy of someone who maybe doesn't have those conditions, and even more, not even challenging, but um, uncertain. So, like whether it's going to be the birth experience that that person had envisioned, or if because of that health condition, they're going to have to go with a different pathway that they maybe didn't want to, but because of medical things, that's just how it goes. So it's really interesting that you guys are kind of exploring those topics that are really not spoken of very much. We
Mm.
don't talk about endometriosis. We don't talk about fibroids. We don't talk about things like that. It just doesn't happen. So it's really interesting that you guys are kind of exploring that.
Thanks for saying that. We don't. And I think there's part of that that is we don't talk too much about our bodies really in this country, let alone if the reproductive aspects of our bodies. I mean, there's just a lot of Puritanism, just a lot that in our history that goes into that. And I don't think that serves us. I do not think that silence serves us. And so my calling is to be a community organizer and an artist. And so that's how I get it, how I come into this. Other people do advocacy work or are medical professionals, but as an organizer and as an artist, I feel like I get to bring some beauty to these topics, some aesthetic, some expansion. And it's my highest hope that, again, people really get in touch with their own desires, spoken and unspoken, whether they're around children or not. But these things that we don't get permission to talk about, it feels like that's part of the job of an artist to say, well, hey, I'll have courage and bring it up. It's okay. I'll be the weird one. And we all can gather and experience that. And so I really hope that this is a positive gathering space for folks to take in some beautiful art and perhaps consider some things that we don't usually get to consider.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, because I know like there's been a lot of progress made in that, like our parents and grandparents' generation, when they were going to have their menstruation start, their mother would hand them a book of flowers, which was just like, okay, that's what is what, like, and
Right.
at least nowadays, there's more education around that, and kids don't exactly have to, young girls don't really have to experience what's going to happen. Like all of a sudden, it just happens, and nobody told you. That's not as much something that people experience as much anymore, which is good.
Right.
But they still don't really, it's not really a topic of conversation so much.
I completely agree with you. I mean, thank gosh it's getting better. And I think that there are still lots of topics that we could use more discussion around. For instance, I'm thinking about trans folks' experience of menstruation or chest feeding. If one becomes pregnant, um, there's so much language around naming our body parts. And what about people for whom those names do not serve and do not hold? Um, I am not a transgender person. That's not my experience. So I absolutely don't want to speak as if I'm speaking from personal experience. But I am a human being who is in love with many other human beings, including lots of trans friends and family. And I just feel that we've got a long way to go in talking about our reproductive desires and really being sure that folks are part of the conversations that we're having, or at least that I'm having conversations that aren't overtly exclusive. Again, I think you had asked about my dance company earlier, and one of my tenets or one of the visions, one of the guiding questions for my dance company is how can we be together better? How can we be humans on this planet? I think the human condition is one that bears scrutiny for me. How can I be here optimally? How can I be here together with other folks, literally? How do we coexist? How do we create community? How do we do that well? And how do we do it better? And so when I think about queer folks like myself and transgender folks um, being part of these reproductive conversations, I think we're often grabbing at straws and on the outskirts. And so for me, these are the bodies that have not born centers us, centers us in the conversation. And I'm so excited for how people will be affected by being invited. And I'm excited to see you all there.
Oh, awesome. And you had also mentioned in the interview that you had that this is the first performance piece that the name is a sentence. So can you tell us like how that evolved into the name that it has now?
Sure. This name came out fully formed, the title of this work. These are the bodies that have not born, period. And it's born, borne, meaning have not born a child. These are the bodies that have not born. This whole artwork came to me as a vision, truly. And the title came to me as well. I didn't have to search for it. I wasn't wondering. It is a declaration, it is a sentence. And you're right, the only MBDance work where the title is a sentence with a period at the end. And I think that there's something declarative about that. There's something that our bodies are standing for our own bodies, but also for everybody else who has needed to whisper or felt alone, that we sort of proudly are out here dancing, saying, these are the bodies. Look how splendid. Look how regal. Look how worthy.
Okay, awesome. And also, there was something that I saw in the release that there's going to also be a midwife. What does it? How does that performance differ? That person is a midwife as opposed to one of the people who's, dancing as, I guess. So maybe you could just kind of like go into that a little bit. I'm not sure how to describe that.
Sure, I know we're doing so much new, unique embodiment in this work, and I'm really happy about that as an artist. Happy to innovate. Audrey Hales is Associate Artistic Director of my dance company, MBDance, and Audrey is also the process midwife for this piece. So Audrey is not dancing in the piece, but Audrey is not also sitting in the audience with witness participants. They have this sort of permeable in and out. They are um, really a doula or a midwife, making sure that we're all safe and happy as we're dancing outside, as we're being buried into the earth, which is something that happens within the work. Um, and so that's part of the role of this midwife for the piece is how do you contend with people's safety as dance laborers? The dancers in the piece, they are professionals. We are professionals. So from a labor standpoint, also from a care standpoint, that idea of as you are offering your body towards these ideas, much as someone who is experiencing childbirth, as they're offering their body to the experience. Who are the coaches? Who are the soothers? Who are the encouragers who help make that possible? And in this case, for us, it's Audrey Hales.
Oh, awesome. And so, is there anything else that you would like to add today about the performance or about anything that we didn't talk about?
I'd like to say thank you. I'm really grateful to get to talk about this work with you. You sort of grabbed onto some things that we don't talk about as much, and I think you're exactly right. And it's such a pleasure to talk with someone and be able to say, yeah, maybe we could give a few minutes to these ideas. I want to say thank you so much to Melissa West at Snug Harbor and the Newhouse Center for Contemporary Art. She is truly an amazing and supportive curator, who I'm just really grateful to work with. Everybody at Snug Harbor, to be honest, has been amazing, from Lexi assisting Melissa to Brandon helping us safely harvest bamboo, that we're working with in the work. So there's just so much gratitude, and I want to say thank you to the people who are listening and watching, and I know will come out. I think there's just something amazing about having artwork as part of our lives. We don't even always know what it's going to spark, and it could be something deep or not deep. It just could be a way to enjoy life and a nice evening out. Um, and I'm just really happy that I get to be a part of adding to art in the world, and I'm really excited to see everybody.
Oh, awesome. Well, it was really great to meet with you, and I think that our audience will definitely be interested in coming to see this piece. People on Staten Island love Snug Harbor, and most of the performances that they have there are pretty amazing. So, a lot of good expectations for this weekend for your guys' performance.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, bye. Take care.